Welcome back. So let's go ahead and continue. First off, let's begin with our methods. We will put them into public. Okay, so public. And, oh, why did you do that? Let's leave it like that. I want to place a tab, but it's fine. So the very first thing that we shall place here is the static, static const long infinite equals -1L. So we will use it to state that the function will be called an infinite amount of times, so that the timer would work until we stop it in a manual fashion. It is static, so we can use it without creating an instance. For example, we can access it like this. Obviously, there's no need to type it in here, but I'm just going to give you an example. So just timer : in infinite. It's just like this. So we don't need to create an instance, but we create a variable. There's just no need to create an instance. Let's leave it at that. Let's not go too deep into the things that we don't need to be too deep in. Next up, we need a constructor. So time, and this one will be an empty constructor. We will use this constructor in order to create a timer as a global variable. Why global? Well, because our variables will die at the end of the functions in the case that they are local variables. Also because it is empty, well, not because it is empty, but it does give us a certain amount of flexibility. We can set our own values for the variables later on by using the functions below. So let's go ahead and create another constructor. So this constructor will accept a function that we will call. So timer void. It is a void. It's not an empty void though, which is a bit strange. I'll explain in a moment. Just let me go ahead and write this. I don't really feel like making a mistake. So this constructor, it will accept a pointer to a function. So I've already shown you what this is previously. It will accept a pointer to a function, you can compare this to a reference to a constant function object. And then we will initialize the function object to f. So you have the passing of the parameter here. The passing of the parameter here, and then you have the initialization of the same. The rest of the attributes will have default values. For example, interval will be 0. Now we are going to construct another timer down below. Timer, and this one will have more parameters. So the very first one is from here, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy paste this. Seems a little bit simpler that way. And then we're going to place a comma. And then we shall place them one below the other, I guess, so that you can basically see better. Also, signed long and %sign I, comma, const long repeat equals timer infinite. Now we need to initialize all of these. So we're doing pretty much the same thing as above, with the last argument being optional. This one is optional. These two are mandatory here. So just constant references there. That's reference to a constant, just a reference to a constant. That's it, basically. Let's put it like that. We don't actually need to go any deeper there. And let's go ahead and initialize all of them. Interval std chrono colon milliseconds. Okay, so here, and let's go ahead and initialize another one. There we go. Call number repeat. There we go. So that's really all that we need. I think I have an extra one here. I do. And let's just go ahead and close this. So we have initialized all of them here without any problems. Now we need to go down below. But comma. Right, so this would not work without that valuable comma. Sorry. You gotta forgive me though, the code is kind of long and the code will become longer. There's gonna be a lot more of these headers when the keylogger actually becomes more and more complex and its functionalities expand. But for the time, even now, its functionalities are awesome. I don't think that you will find anything similar on the net out there, especially not the explanation, especially not the source code and the explanation in terms of how it was actually made. And now we will go ahead and create a method down below. So this will be used for starting the timer. Void start bool equals true. Why did you run away so far is beyond me. Okay, thank you. The code looks pretty messy, especially with the indentations. Perhaps they're not all right, but yeah, you're just gonna have to forgive me for that. Alive. I've been working on casting this practically non-stop for the last couple of days. Why are you going over there? God, why? There's bound to be a reason for this. Everything has a purpose. Return, there we go. I'll explain in a moment. Just allow me to go ahead and actually write this, because as you can see, for some strange reason, I started making a lot of mistakes here. Repeat count, and this will equal to call number. Okay, so yeah, there is a few more lines to this method, but let's just go ahead and go over it. So what are we using this for? Well, basically for starting the timer, as I've stated. So if it's already running, you don't have to actually do anything. If it is not running, go ahead and sorry, not if it's not running. If it is running, don't do anything. Just return nothing. If it is not running, set status to running. So alive, set to true. And down below, repeat count equals call number. Well, it just sets the value of the repeat count to the call number. So we specify the amount of times we would like to do something, and then we copy that into the repeat count, because that repeat count will be modified. It will decrease as the iteration goes through it. And we don't want to modify the call number, because the call number is the fixed amount of times that we will call something. Okay, if excellent, down below thread, okay, equals std colon thread this. Oh, there we go. So what is this? Thread is our variable. So this is our variable. It's somewhere up here. Yep, there we go. So it's right here. We've made it. We've designed it. It's ours. So threads are variable from above, and we're putting into it thread variable with parameters, and those are thread funds, and this is a function which will be executed, and a pointer to our class, which is this. So this is a pointer, it's called this, and this here, this is a function which will be executed. Simple as that. So this is if we are making an asynchronous call. If nothing is being blocked, if this is being done simultaneously, so to say. And down below, else. Else will basically just call this. This is basically if a function is a concurrent thread, which will block the main one. This pointer is probably not necessary, but probably. Don't hold my word for it to it. Thread func. There we go. It is done. So we can now successfully start our timer. Without this component, without this method, we would not be able to do that. Now, the next thing that we need to know how to do is we need a method to manually stop the timer. So let's go ahead and make it. Void stop. Hey, now, you know all those keyloggers that you can buy on the internet, etc.? I don't believe that there is a single one which has a lower amount of dependencies than this one. Plus, you actually have to pay a ton of money for them. And you don't get to see the source code. So you have no idea what's in it, if that same keylogger is spying on you. A very bad idea to do that. Actually, to go onto torrents and download one, by the way. Status 2 not alive. Okay, yep. And dot join. Let us join forces. Okay, so it first sets the status of alive to false and then joins threads. This means that there will not be any concurrent execution, only one main thread, hence for thread.join. And this will, in fact, stop the timer. Okay, let's go down below. Next, we need our setters and getters. They're pretty short and kind of unentertaining, so bool is alive. Const turn alive. Simple as that. So what this does is it's basically is used to figure out whether the timer is running or not. It gets the variable alive, and based upon whether that alive is set to false or true, it knows whether we are able to figure out whether the timer is running or not. Some of these functions, some of these methods we might not use immediately and so on and so forth, but really the code would not be complete without them. You should have them here, and we're most likely going to need to use them at a certain point of time, and even if we don't, we can always optimize the code by removing them, but they're not really doing much anyway in terms of hindering us in any way, manner, or form. Okay, so next one is another setter, so repeat count const long r. Okay, so yeah, gonna need this. This one is also not going to be long, so if it is, this is a repeat counter, it sets the number of repeatances. So if it is alive, if this is true, return nothing, and call number equals to r. Here we go. So this just sets the number of repeatances. That's really it. It doesn't do much. It doesn't do anything else really. Let me just go ahead and I'm looking at my notes and I'm looking at this, what is on the screen. I seem to have missed a function. Let me just see. Is alive. Stop is there. Okay. Let's just insert one here. Well, it doesn't need to be in this particular position, but it's like that in my notes, so I'm doing one-on-one with my notes. It's far easier that way. But it doesn't need to be in any particular order, really. Set function. Now, this is a common setter which will set the function which will be executed. We can use this one when we create the timer with an empty constructor, and then we can set the values of variables ourselves. So that's kind of convenient and nice, isn't it? Okay, so %f. Okay, there we go. So that's just this just sets the function which will be executed. That's all that there is to it. No need to go busting your head against the wall. So repeat count, and let's go down below. Okay, so long get left count. Return repeat. So what this is used for, this is another getter. We will basically, well, sort of. We will basically get how many iterations are left. So if at any point of time we would like to know how many iterations are left, we will use this function to get the current repeat count state. So current repeat count value, sorry, not state. And we will be able to do that with this method. Let's go into the next one. Long repeat count. So this will basically just fetch us the repeat count. This is the call number. Okay, I'm pretty sure I made a mistake here because it doesn't definitely look like my notes. So repeat count const, right. Yeah, there we go, const. Right, getting just a little bit tired, but no big deal. So long repeat count const, this will get the total number of repeatances. So this is the number that we have set, where we have stated how many times would we like something to be done. So this is the total one. This we set and it doesn't change, but this one we use for iteration. Okay, let's go to the next one. Void set interval %i if live return. So this basically just sets the interval. That's basically it, though. I really don't have anything to say in this regard. It just it receives a parameter. Based upon that parameter, it sets an interval. That's it. It just checks if it is running already. So interval equals std. I don't know. Seconds. That's it. That's all there is to it. And now we only have 2 more left before the end of this. I'm running a little bit short on time, so I'm going to cut it here and we will return the follow-up tutorial because the videos do have a time limitation on Udemy, so they need to fit within the 20 minutes range and I'll need more than 2 minutes to explain this.